Hey, what's going on, guys? Tim here again. Got something a little different for you today, or rather something that I haven't done in a long time, and that is a knife review. So before you freak out or anything, don't worry, this channel is not turning into a knife review channel. Everything will still remain 99% paracord, but for those of you who are familiar with the sort of beginnings of my channel, I did used to do knife reviews and paracord stuff, and I kind of slowly transitioned over to just paracord. But I felt the need to do this review because I have something here that's quite special to me, and it's also quite unique. So I just want to share this with you guys, and for those of you who are interested, but don't worry, there's plenty of paracord videos coming. So so let's get into it. So what we've got here is a Brad Southard custom knife. This is definitely the jewel of my collection. So this is his Daws model. And let's see, we'll start with a bit of a background. I believe, I could be wrong, I believe this knife was made early 2000, I want to say circa 2004. This was featured in an issue of Blade magazine. So yeah, this is pretty old, this knife, in terms of age. And compared to Brad's current work, it is quite different because this is much older, and his work has become much more and more refined since then. Not to say that this knife isn't refined or beautiful. I think it's quite a work of art. But anyways, his work has come a long way, and it's pretty interesting to compare what he's done back then to what his work looks like now. Some of you knife lovers out there might be familiar with Brad's work through his collaborations with Spyderco. He's done the Brad Southard Flipper. I used to own one of those, but I sold it quite a while ago. He's also done the Ion? It was either the Ion or the Positron. I believe it went through a couple name changes. But he's done a couple of collaborations with Spyderco, which is really cool because you can try out his designs without having to pay the full custom price. But anyways, let's get more into this knife. So I like to do my knife reviews from kind of starting from one end of the blade, one end of the knife all the way to the other. So let's start with the blade shape. So this blade is, I want to say it's a modified Wharncliffe because it's got that, it's got a point, but it's slightly dropped down. It's not completely straight like a Wharncliffe, but it does have a bit of a point to it, so it's not a sheep's foot. So I like to call it, modified Wharncliffe. It's got a nice, this is hollow ground, and edge behind it is pretty thin. It's not paper thin, but it is a good slicer. I've used this knife quite a bit. My extent of using knives is obviously cutting paracord, opening mail packages, and the heaviest task I'll probably use a knife for is breaking down cardboard. That's just my lifestyle. I don't need my knives for anything more than that, really, but I still love and appreciate knives. So we've got the modified Wharncliffe blade. I'm using autofocus, so bear with me if it takes a second to focus. But we've got the blade here. Got his nice logo there, deeply etched into the blade. In terms of steel, I believe it is CPM 154. I could be incorrect. There is no markings on this, but I posted a picture of this knife on, I think, Facebook, and I think Brad answered one time, but I forgot. Anyways, it's got that nice high hollow ground blade, and like I said, it does perform quite well. It's actually quite thin when I just do the finger test like this, and it's got a beautiful stone wash on it. So it's not like a crazy, let me see if I can get there. It's not a crazy aggressive stone wash, but it's very refined. It looks very nice. And also it's got a very nice smooth finish, so possibly, it's not completely mirrored, but perhaps it was tumbled with ceramic rods after to give it like a bit of a polish. But it's very nice. He's got these, we've got the thumb studs up there, which have this nice kind of cratering on them, which is really cool to look at and also provides great traction when you go to open the knife, right? Very nice. Okay, now moving down, this is a frame lock, but on one side here it has the bolster and full titanium on this side. Okay, so there's the lock bar cutout. Looks very good. Overall, at the pivot, very strong. I do have to Loctite it. It does come a little loose sometimes, but you know, overall works just fine. Now the titanium has a very nice finish on it. If you look at the bolster here, from what I can tell, it looks like it's been orange peeled, possibly blasted, and then also tumbled. So it creates this very, very kind of rugged looking effect on it. And there is some wear on here from pocket carry, but yeah, it has a very nice finish to it, and I believe it's called the distressed finish. Perhaps Brad, if you see this video, you can confirm that. But yeah, very nice finish. And as you can see here, this bolster, I believe it is a separate piece. Now I'm not entirely sure how it's fully connected, but it doesn't come off, and there is no screw on this side, so that's very nice. We've got some thick cut jimping up top. It's not super crazy grippy, but it's not the type that, you know, cuts into your, kind of grips into your thumb, but it serves its purpose. And based on the ergonomics of this knife, I've never once really lost any real purchase when using this knife. I felt very secure using it. It's got the nice jimping there, everything matches up. There's the stop pin. Okay, it's got a decent stop pin on it, so that's quite nice. Also, the pivot screw has a very nice finish to it. It's almost like a rough satin ground finish, if you can call it that. Getting to the scales, we have black linen micarta, so it's very smooth. You've also got this little scallop here, so when you close a knife, see, you can get to that thumb stud a lot easier in case you want to pop it out or just, you know, open it slowly. Both works. Very nice little cutout here. Adds to the aesthetic of it. And it's got a, I guess you can call it almost like a 3/4 length backspacer with that really nice gear pattern on it, which is actually, it's very comfortable when you hold the knife like this. You can feel the backspacer pressing into your palm, and just overall adds to the comfort of the knife. Also, if you do, not that you would really use this knife in a reverse grip, but when you do hold it like this, you can touch the, get your thumb on the backspacer there, which is really quite nice. Now, if you look closely, let's get my camera to focus properly on this, between the linen micarta scale and the titanium, there's a blue liner there. And he's also added 2 blue liner materials on the opposite sides of the backspacer, which is pretty cool. Has that little accent of color. Now, because this knife is quite old, when I take this knife apart, the liner material does kind of fall off the backspacer, so it's a little tricky getting it back together. But I could, you know, probably super glue it back together, but that's fine. I'll just leave it like that for now. Okay, getting to this side of the knife. Discuss the finish, and it's got a nice spring clip on it. This pocket clip will look quite familiar to those of you who have owned the Brad Southard flipper from Spyderco. It's more or less the same style of clip, and it has a similar finish. And for the lock bar here, we've got some cratering on the inside, which is very nice. Very nice detail there. And also we've got that same cratering. You can kind of see it there on the inside of the release here, where you go to disengage the lock bar, which is pretty cool. Okay. So overall, I love this knife. I mean, I think everyone has that one knife that they'll never sell, and I used to think that was my Sebenza, but no, I sold my Sebenza quite a while ago. This is the knife I'll never sell, not only because Brad Southard's knives are very, very hard to come by, unless you're willing to pay a premium price. You know, I really love this knife, and it's served me very well, and I can see myself using it for many years. Now, in terms of the ergonomics, you've got this kind of recess here, and it kind of swells out here toward the butt end of the knife. And overall, I find that that makes a really, really comfortable grip, because when I grip the knife, see my 2 fingers kind of fall in between here, and the rest of my other 2 fingers kind of can squeeze onto the kind of butt end of the knife, and overall it's really, really comfortable. And because every edge is nice and smoothed, contoured, there's no hard edges or anything on this knife. As you can see here, everything's nicely radiused. When I go to grip this knife, it feels like comfortable. There's no hot spots or anything. And you can probably use this knife, even without gloves if you're doing a lot of work, and you probably won't get a whole lot of fatigue, which is really nice. It kind of feels like a bar of soap. Not like slippery, but in that there's no rough edges on it, So it's really, really cool. In terms of the action, it's very, very smooth. This knife uses phosphor bronze washers. They are quite worn, by the way. I have taken this knife apart, and they have, looks like some sort of, it's either corrosion or whoever put Loctite in there previously got Loctite on the washers. I have polished them off a bit. The knife still works just fine. But, maybe I can send this knife in to Brad for some servicing one day. I don't know how long I could be away with this knife, though. So, yeah, nice smooth action. Whether you're popping it open or just opening it slowly. Also, what's interesting about this knife is if you look at the placement between the thumb stud and the pivot, normally, at least in my experience, I find when a knife has the pivot and the thumb stud closer together, it's a little more comfortable because you don't have to do this sweeping motion to open it with your thumb. But, somehow just, I guess, with the angle and whatnot, this one's still quite comfortable, Let's try to keep that in focus. It's still very comfortable to open and close like this, right? I don't find myself struggling. And also, when you do go to pop it open, it flies open. So it's really nice. And what else is there to say? Overall, a really, really well-made knife. That's all I can really say. And for those of you who are into the custom knife world, I hope you enjoy this video because I just wanted to share this with you. I think this knife could use a new edge. Maybe I'll do another sharpening video soon. Yeah. That video is still on my channel on sharpening knives. So, just word of warning, when I made it, I was a bit of a noob, so it's not the best. So I probably should do another one. Anything else to say? Not too much. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Oh, and the detent. That's what I wanted to talk about. Detent is very good. Knife doesn't shake out. If you really sling it down hard, it will fly out, but you do have to use a considerable amount of force. I can show you the detent on this knife now. We just carefully... See? It's very nice. It sucks the blade in just nicely. And also, it's not that detent where it's really hard to push out, where you have to give it a large amount of force and then it juts out and then you can open it like a Sebenza. You can just smoothly open everything. It is a ball bearing detent in there, and it is flattened, so I believe it's the flat face detent, and it works very well. I believe Brad uses ceramic detents now on all his knives, which is nice because those last a lot longer. But functionally, this knife has been working just fine. It's seen a decent amount of use by me, and a lot of opening and closing as I play with it. But yeah, that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this knife review. I hope it was, you guys find this interesting. I know I'm a little rusty in terms of knife reviews. I haven't done one in a long time. But yeah, you guys might see more of these from me every now and then. Once in a blue moon, I'll probably do a knife review. Because I still do enjoy using knives and whatnot. But overall, don't worry. Lots and lots of Paracord videos coming. And I want to thank you guys for watching this video, if you stick around this long. And I'll see you guys in the next video, all right?